And he replied to me saying, I wish you had not gone to IIT and I wish you had become a writer. Right? So I'm just saying, we are all conditioned. We are all in engineering colleges not by choice. We think we are here because of choice, but we are not here. We're all here because of the society pressure. My journey of writing was I used to spend 3-4 hours writing. I used to go to a cafe, drink two chayos, drink chai and write for 3-4 hours. I did that for 2-3 months and a book came out. That is what I did. But I'm just saying, do not limit yourself or bucket yourself.
That's amazing.
Saying, I am an engineer, I'm a girl, I'm a boy, for all of you, do anything you want to do. There's a question by Brigant
Right. That's
in the chat box. Yeah. And Brigant is asking, how can we create communities and teams? Brigant, it is a broad question. The question actually I answer in 3-4 chapters in the book, Let's Build a Company. But I'm just saying that a team इकट्ठे नहीं बनती है, team लोगों से बनती है. So if you're two co-founders starting off, you're two people. Then you hire one person, become three. And 3 people is a team. Then you hire one more, it becomes the fourth. And if you are able to talk to each other, share what you really want to say with each other, then you become a team. And as you become bigger and bigger, if you can find processes and ways to ensure everybody remains on the same page, everybody is aligned about what the direction of the company is going to be, then it is a big team. The good thing about a big team who's on the same page is that you can work full force on the direction they want to go. But for that, you will have to learn to make processes, learn to build a culture, do a lot of things. But you will learn that step by step. I'm just saying start. Do not worry. Start by hiring one person, one more person, one more person, one more person, and go ahead.
That makes sense. So, also in the audience, we have a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs with us, and like you mentioned that at your time, building startups was very cool, and a lot of people got into that. I believe even today the scenario hasn't changed a lot because building startups is a very glamorous thing, which is considered by a lot of students. So, what are some of the hardships that you've seen, young founders face, and what are some of the mistakes that young founders have made early in their career that could be avoided by all of us?
So there are too many hardships out there to avoid. Okay. But let me say think 2 or 3. Right. And like I said, right, one, tough times will come. When they come, take help. Second, money is not money which somebody has promised to you. Money is money in the bank. Third, hiring people is a skill. Hiring is the most underestimated thing, in a company. The most underestimated. You think you will start and automatically a lot of people will join you. Even if you are funded, it is hard to hire people. Hard to hire good people who believe in the vision that you have to give their time and energy to make it come true. So hiring is a big skill. Learn that. The other thing, and I think I should have spoken about earlier, is co-founder relationship. Uh, co-founder में fight होती है. It doesn't come out. But I can't believe there are co-founders who have become big or been together for 10 years who haven't fought. Vibhor and I fought a lot. Right? Everybody fights. We fought over कि newspaper में किसका नाम आएगा. We fought over कि media में क्या करना चाहिए. We fought over strategy of the company. The good part were हमने कॉलेज में बहुत लड़ाई की थी. और कॉलेज में बहुत लड़ाई करने के बाद हम फिर भी दोस्त थे. And that is what actually saved our relationship. That we knew how to fight, and then we had the emotional intelligence to still be on the same page and do what made sense for the company. But we fought a lot. So when you start a company, I'm saying if you're starting with somebody you don't know enough, then spend time with them. Start it as a project. So these are some of the things, Tanya, that I can think about when you're going to build a company. Just remember, there's so many people out there who made the same mistakes. Learn from their mistakes. You don't have the time to make them all yourself. There's a question that Prince has asked. It says, what does success look like for the company? Prince, success looks like whatever you want it to look like. There's somebody who runs a kirana store and he believes that he's earning a living, and for him that is success because he runs a profitable kirana store. There is somebody who builds a company uh, where he says every customer is very happy, and that is what success means for them. कि यार चाहे customer कम हो but जो हो खुश हो. For somebody else, they want to build a unicorn, and that is what success looks like. For somebody, they want to change the world, and unless they change the world in the way that they want to change, they don't feel successful. So success means just different things for different people, and there's no one single definition. It keeps changing. For me, if you ask, for a company is a fictional entity that we have created. So there are investors, shareholders, founders, team members, employees. To me, success and their customers. To me, success looks like when all of them can win. And maybe it won't happen on the same day. But can all of them get what they expected out of the company? And the company deliver that to them consistently year after year. Because if you, let's say, start a company, it becomes a unicorn in 3 years, but then it stays a unicorn for the next 5 years. Is it successful? Like I'm saying, I don't know the answer. For some, they might think it is okay. For some, they might think it is not okay. So success is very, very dependent on the person running the company. But in these initial years, initial 5, 10 years, there's no difference between the company and the person. The person is the company and the company is the person. Uh, Harshit has asked a question. Do you believe that startups should focus on metrics, KPIs, or is it more about vision and long-term goal? Harshit, the important thing to remember is there is no or here. There is and. If you have a vision and you don't have metrics to measure it, your vision will never get fulfilled. If you have metrics and you do not know where you want to go, you have no vision. All those metrics will be useless. So you need to have goals and you need to have metrics to ensure you can get to those goals. So there is no or, metric or vision. There is metric and vision that you need to work with.
So I think an extension to what was asked by Harshit, I would also like to know, what do you look for in startups while you're investing?
Yeah.
Point of view of an angel investor, what do you really look in? Like the idea, the metrics, and all the financials. What is the process?
Sure. By the way, I have a website called harpreet.com. I think there I published an article on it. You can go read that. But at the same time, I'm saying if I was to answer in as short as possible, the thing I look for is a good founding team. Capable people who are passionate about the problem they want to solve. That is the thing. And if that is there, everything else can be figured out.
So I think we have another question in the chat box from Harsh. Harsh is asking, what is good working culture according to you?
What does good working culture mean? Yeah, now this is subjective, right? Is there one definition of good working culture? I don't think there is one definition of good working culture. Yeah. But I think a lot about culture. We spent a lot of time on co-cubes on culture. In the book, Let's Build a Company, I wrote a lot about culture. So let me try to define it in one manner. A good working culture is one in which any team member in the company, any employee in the company can give their best, knowing what they're doing is in the interest of the company. So fearlessly, without fear of politics, without fear of being judged, if I can give my best to the company and know that I will be rewarded for it, that I think is good working culture. That is the kind of company you could aspire to build. That is the kind of company you should work with. Care, this is my capability. I want to give my best. And if I give my best, I will get the reward that is due to me. Nushrati has asked a question. What's the current runway and what are the future funding plans? I don't know what that question means. Current runway for what? and future funding plans for what? Which identity do you like more, as an entrepreneur or a writer? Yeah, I don't think of Harshad. I don't think of myself as either. Uh, I'm saying today I'm passionate actually about working with children because my daughter is 6.5 years old. I spend so much time working with graduates. I think graduates are like a bow shot from an arrow, very difficult to change. And if you really want to make a difference, you should work with younger people. And so when you want to work with younger kids, you have to work with parents. So I'm starting to make a podcast called The Curious Child, The Curious Parent. So I'll now be podcasting and doing some YouTubing, etc. So I'm saying I do not bucket myself as an entrepreneur. I do not bucket myself as a writer. I have no interest in being called either of them. I want to pursue what I like doing. And if I can wake up in the morning and be a little enthusiastic about the day. At the end of the day, what do you want? You want to wake up in the morning and be a little enthusiastic about something. कि यार आज ये करने का मन कर रहा है, आज ये करते हैं. And if that feeling can continue year after year, day after day, life will pass. It doesn't matter whether that is for starting a company or being a writer or doing something else. So, I am okay either ways. Whatever you might want to see me as, you can do that.
So I think we have another question in the chat from Jashin.
Jashan, this is an important question. Startups are not built in a year. It takes 8 to 10 years. How to commit this much time? Do not commit this much time. If you think of 8, 10 years, you will not be able to take the next step. You will always be scared. Okay, 10 saal nahi kar sakta main. It seems too hard. If you're really passionate about something, take a next step. Think of it like a project. Take a next step. Do not think 1-2 years. हो सकता है 1-2 साल में कुछ बन जाए, हो सकता है 8-10 साल में ना बने. You don't know. But don't define your life by such big things. Take a next step. Always just take one next step and keep taking that next step, whichever direction it might go in. Prince is saying market is a very determining factor. Your advice to understand the trends better. Prince, this is an important question. Market matters a lot. We started CoCubes in a market when mobiles were not there, when colleges were not online, when students did not have mobiles, when HRs were not looking for online assessments. So it took us 10 years to build a company to a certain scale. Maybe if I had understood market, I may not have started in that particular area, but we did not understand market. Just remember, you can work as hard as you want, but you can't change the market. Market changes as per their own time. In market, you can't change the market. The market अपने time से change होगी. So whatever you want to do, it is important to understand the market. Okay, for example, if you start, let's say we went to HRs and HR said, अरे हम तो we don't want online assessments, हम तो print out निकाल के दे देते हैं. 50 पैसे का print out पड़ता है. Why should I pay 100 rupees for an online assessment? Now, there is nothing that I can do to change this. I can try selling as much as I want, but this won't get changed. Something like COVID changes this overnight. Something like all companies trying to go digital changes this. But I can't change this by selling to more and more HR. Right? So keep the market in mind. It is a determining factor. So keep that in mind in whichever area you want to start.
So we do have a question from Mika. In the chat, your advice to young entrepreneurs, especially those starting the journey right in college.
Yeah, all of this was advice. Hopefully last 30 minutes were all advice. Hopefully you can take some of it. I have no more extra advice to give. Hopefully last 30 minutes was all of that.
So it's more about if you could share your insights on how to manage college and startup, because these are people who are wanting to start right in college.
Yeah, work hard. That is all that I can say. Right? I'm saying I don't think it is this and that. I think college में बहुत time होता है. none of you, most of us don't go to college to study. Yeah. So I'm saying if there's an idea that is interesting to you, pursue it. Take a next step. Do not think about all these questions. मैं balance कैसे करूँगा? What will happen? Your idea might not work at all, or it might become a unicorn while you are in college. You don't know that yet. If you keep thinking about how will I balance both, you won't start. So start. This balance will happen. You will find the way. Don't worry about it at all. Amit has a question. Pandemic gave a boost to the startup ecosystem, but now things are again going to offline mode. Will there be less number of startups? No, yeah, I think startups will continue. I think in the last 5 years, what has happened is anybody anywhere can do a startup. It doesn't need now somebody to go to IIT and be from IIT to do a startup. So actually, I think there's going to be more and more and more and more competition as creating things becomes easier and easier. What will determine is the determination of the founder, the quality of the founders. All of that will determine the output. But I think more and more startups will happen. Funding cycles can come and go. कभी funding मिलती है, कभी नहीं मिलती है. All of those are determined by something which is out of your hand. The flow of money is out of your hand. You can't time it. So you do what you can do, which is take a next step in building your startup. Right? And how does it matter यार startup ज्यादा होंगे या कम होंगे? तुम्हारा करने का मन है तो कर लो, नहीं करने का मन तो मत करो. बाकी लोग क्या करेंगे उससे क्या फर्क पड़ता है?
So, guys, if you have more to ask, you can come in the chat box. We can take a couple of more of that. So this is something that I wanted to actually ask you. There are a lot of tough times during the startup journey, and even when we are ideating, we are at ideation stage. We have a lot of confusion कि ये काम करेगा या ये idea work करेगा या नहीं, इसको pursue करना चाहिए या नहीं. So can you shed some light on how to avoid that confusion कि क्या करना चाहिए, कौन सा idea pursue करना है?
You will think, Tanya, I'm repeating myself, but I will again say this to everybody on the call. Take a next step. When I was in IIT, I had an idea. There was no fresh fruit juice brand. So I thought, a fresh fruit juice brand खोलेंगे. The first thing I did, I got hold of a designer friend. I said, यार, पहले हमने तो एक हफ्ता लगाया नाम सोचने में कि नाम क्या होगा. तो हम नाम सोचा, we thought of a name called Fruams. Okay? Because the best fruits come from Amsterdam, name will be Fruams. Then I designed a logo for it. उसमें 2 हफ्ते और नाम और लोगो में लगा दिए. बड़ा अच्छा नाम और बड़ा अच्छा लोगो. Then decided अरे क्या करें. तो then हमें लगा कि यार नेक्स्ट स्टेप करते हैं. तो हम जाके मिक्सी खरीद के लेके आए और फ्रूट लेके आए. हम देखना चाहते हैं कि कितने गाजर से जूस निकलता है, कितने कैरेट से कितना जूस निकलता है, कितने संतरे से कितना जूस निकलता है, सो दैट वी कैन डिटरमिन प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी. राइट. और जब हम वो गाजर और जूस निकाल रहे थे ना, कमरे में बैठ के अपने हॉस्टल के रूम में, हमें रियलाइज हुआ यार कि हमें आइडिया करना ही नहीं है. I don't want to do this. Okay, and I'm saying it stopped. Something else took over. So forget this logo, forget this and that, forget बाद में क्या होगा. Take a next step.
Right. I think that makes sense. That has cleared a lot of things in my mind. And so I think we have a small, fun, rapid fire round for you. So I think we'll begin with that. So the rules are pretty simple. I'll ask you a question and you have to answer it immediately. So I think first question is, which industry leader do you idealize the most?
Nobody. I'm saying I learn from everybody. I can learn from anywhere. I'm saying anything there is to learn from, I learn. But there's nobody to idolize.
Right. Next question: which sector as a whole fascinates you the most?
Yeah, my personal interest has been anything dealing with people. So career, education, children, parenting. My interest area is why do people do what they do? And hence anything to do with that has been very interesting to me.
Right. So, what did you want to be when you were a kid?
When I was a kid,
Mhm.
I don't
Like,
remember.
what did you wanted to be like as a grown up when you were a kid? Like
I don't remember. Yeah, actually,
your
I do
childhood
have a
aspirations.
childhood aspiration. I don't know. I opened a comic shop once when I was in fourth class. After that, my cousin brothers went to IIT. So it was always about going to IIT. I'm telling you, I'm telling all of you on the call. It is only in the last 3 years I've started thinking about what do I want to be. Till the age of 35, till the time I sold the company, I think it has always been what the world wanted me to be, what my parents wanted me to be. In that circle, I started my own company, and I built that company and sold that company, and I pursued mountaineering and everything else. But I think a lot of that was conditioned. It is now only when I'm turning 40, I'm thinking about, what do I really want to do?
Right. And so, a book you'd like to recommend to everybody in their 20s?
20 something, read my book here. Let's build a company. Yeah. But apart from that, there are two books I would like to recommend. There is a book called Go Kiss the World by Subrata Bakshi. I think it's an excellent book. It talks about the journey of Subrata as he came from where he came from and how he did what he did. And there's an interesting book called Siddhartha by Herman Hesse. Uh, I think it's a very interesting book. You might or might not understand it, uh, but if you give it a try, simply written book. But every time I read it, I find something.
Right. So, any advice that you would like to give the younger self of yours?
Sorry,
Any advice that you would like to give to the younger version of yourself?
go build a company. Same thing. Go actually build a company. You can do anything you want to do. Do not worry about people's perceptions. Do not worry about others will think. Go do whatever you want to do. Take a next step. Just don't worry. Take a next step.
Right. And the last question, a rumor that you would like to spread about yourself.
Rumor. It's a good one, yeah. Good one. I don't know actually. What would I like people to believe about myself? I don't know.
So, something to ponder upon, perhaps.
That's a good question actually. I'll think about it.
Awesome. So, this brings us to the end of this wonderful session. I'm sharing a link with you all in the chat box. Please do check out the book Let's Build a Company by Harpreet Sir if you haven't already. It's highly unlikely that you haven't. But if you still haven't read the book, please find the Amazon link right there and you'll find the book there. And so, any closing comments from your side, any advices?
No, yeah, all of that is there. Thank you so much for being on the call this Sunday evening. Go have a good time. You are in college. This is a great time to be alive, to be doing whatever you're doing. Anything is possible to do. Just take a next step. Whenever you're confused, do not overthink. Thinking is an aid to living. Okay, it happens in your mind, and it can confuse you. Take a next step, and all things will be resolved. Okay,
Right.
take care.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable insights with us. On behalf of Team E-Summit 2022, I'd like to thank you for taking out your time and being with us today. I'd also like to thank all the attendees, all the participants of E-Summit 2022. You have been a great audience, and I hope you continue with us in the next years as well. And thank you so much, everyone. Take care. Good night.
Thank you. Take care, guys. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye bye. Have a great night.